Hello, everybody, and welcome here to another Kerfuffle webinar with the famous, infamous, dare I say it, Tango Pig of OpenBrix. You're looking resplendent there, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm not so tangled at the moment because we're not getting good weather, but I'm all good.
Right, keep it cheerful. Come on, Adam. You're on the. This isn't Christopher Watkins. This. We keep things really cheerful here. And to double down on that, just to show the bog off deal you've got, we are joined here today by Agent Consigliere himself, Mr. David Mintz. How are you, David?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How's it all going?
It's good. You're looking really good and resplendent there in your prison uniform.
Yeah, well, I like a bit of cell block H.
Whoa, who doesn't? Yeah, exactly. Lizzie, all that lot. B. Smith. Anyway, just to keep this relevant again, because I do tend to drift. Adam, we've been lucky enough to catch up with you and the growth of the business, the really exciting stuff you're doing. Obviously, you're there with blockchain. I have to get that in straight away at the beginning. So that people understand here today, we're going to be spending a bit of time on just one of the 8 different areas, core areas of the business that you're looking at. The really exciting one, MLS. And we're going to be talking here about unlocking agent collaboration with the MLS itself. Now, to prove that there are no stupid questions, could you just explain to us what an MLS is?
An MLS, well, it's a multi-listing service, and it's primarily how countries all around the world operate and sell property. So it's about collaboration, sharing, and we've just typically not done that. And there's, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but we've not done that. And but it's a way an agent can get an instruction and then share it with other agents in their country or globally, and they can collaborate and split the fee. Typically, though, what is very interesting is that the fees for estate agent fees or equivalent realtors charge a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, another reason why MLS has never really quite worked here, but we've come up with a quintessentially British version, because the overseas MLS just would not work here. I mean, you sometimes get 5 agents splitting a fee.
So could you just explain just on that? Because as you said, in the States, it's absolutely prevalent. There's loads of MLSs and everything else there. Just on that one basis, why can't you just rinse and repeat the let's say the American MLS here? What is it about our particular market? Is it literally just the low fees that's the issue here?
It's primarily a fee. Well, yeah, I mean that's the main one, because they're charging 2-3 times the amount that we charge. And so but what they're often doing is they're sharing it amongst, in Europe, for example, in Spain, you could get, I sold my property a couple of years ago out in Spain, and had 5 agents sharing the fee. I mean, I was charged, I think 6.5% or something, which was expensive.
And that famously is pretty much the standard in the States, is that you can get 3% as the selling agent, 3% as the buying agent, but it's not entirely unusual for one agent to represent both sides through some sort of Chinese walls affair.
For that reason alone, it just wouldn't work here like that. And also, you have to, the MLSs often take a cut of the sale fee, and also there's a commitment that you have to load all your properties onto an MLS. So it's very authoritarian.
Do you think it's an all or nothing sort of thing? You're either all in with everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And we've proved we need a cake. We need our cake and eat it up. So you've got a Brexit MLS. Talk to me though, in terms of technologically, what does an agent need to get involved with you guys to just get the ball rolling with this kind of MLS kind of?
Well, we're just finishing off, as you alluded to. We started our foundation block using blockchain was the portal, because we needed those reference points. Once we've got the property identity, the consumer identity, the agent identity, and various suppliers all having identities, then how the blockchain works is just they connect them together on a peer-to-peer basis. So unlike a centralized business where you need to have your server is God effectively, and it controls everything. Well, OpenBrix platform can be as big as it wants to be, because each individual, each agent branch, each consumer, each supplier is effectively building the platform. Yeah. So that's how it works. And they just connect. You choose to share what you want to choose to share with with another party, and that's kind of how it works.
And that's the crucial element, that control you were talking about, isn't it? So talk to us about, let's just talk about why people should stay watching agents here. What's the benefit? We'll come on to the consumer, and I think there's some massive points there which we should deal with up front. But what's the benefit for the agents themselves?
Well, I think primarily, whilst we're going to come back to consumer, it's about giving the best service to the consumers, and that should be at the heart and soul of everything an agent does, really. And if you do a good job, you want to be paid well for it. So, but the benefits to the agents at the moment is that it's an accepted stat that probably the likelihood is you've only got a 50% chance of selling that property that you work so hard to get this whole instruction on. You have a 50% chance. Now, again, using stats accepted around the world, if you're using an MLS, that goes up to 90. And the 10% failure rate is normally down to the vendor withdrawing. So it's pretty guaranteed you'll sell it. But my argument has always been, right, I don't want to, if I've worked really hard to get an instruction, why do I only want a 50% chance of selling it? I'd like that 90%. And it might be that I'm going to have a really good crack at it myself in my first 4 or 5 weeks. I'm going to work really hard. But if I haven't sold it and I've only done 3 viewings and I'm starting to think this one's going to go, why would you not say, do you know what, I'm going to put this on the MLS now. I'm going to put it onto my network. Yeah. You don't want to put it on the whole of an MLS. You can set up your own little bespoke network of 2 or 3 or 10 agents, whatever you want to call it. And you just agree with each agent which property you want to share and what percentage commission you're prepared to share it with. You can give a flat fee. You might say, I'm going to give it you to point. I'm going to let you have 0.5% because you're on Rightmove. But I'm only going to give it to you at 0.4% because you're on
so Adam, who decides that? Is that effectively the lead agent? So it's not the vendor themselves.
The primary agent gets to choose and gets to make the rules on each property, who's he shares it with. I mean, you can do it, as I'm saying, there's an easy click button. It means it goes out to the whole world. We've got overseas agents sitting on
right. Okay.
But if you want to not share it to everyone and you want to be a little bit more spoke, but you want your little high street little network to share it, not include the idiot at the end of the high street.
That's how David's known, actually, in North Manchester.
Yeah. Just talking about more serious points for a second, Mr. Whale. Do you think, fees aside, and we're going to come to fees in a second, because I think this is, as an agent, that's what worries me most about this sort of thing. So we're going to talk about that. But do you think the UK as an industry, do you think our attitudes to collaboration between agents is what's held us back from getting into MLS properly?
Yeah, I do. I do, because there's that sort of kind of competition that, you want to work hard to get your instruction, but then you don't want to let it go. And it's really making that decision to risk that fee and risk losing it, or whether saying, do you know what, I'm prepared to give away a third of it, and I'm going to guarantee that 2/3 of the fee. But the important thing here is that when you're looking at fees, if you're typically being negotiated down to, I don't know, 1% or 1.25% for a sole agency fee, your other option is the multi-agents, where the vendor will instruct 2 or 3 agents, and of course the fee goes up to 2% or 1.75 or something. Well, my argument with the MLS is that this is a pitching tool, because if I'm a vendor and I've got an agent coming around to me and saying, look, don't put it on with other agents. I've got a new tool where I've got a network of 12 agents in the county, and I will share this property with them from day 1 or from week 4, whatever. And further to that, I can also push this out to the whole world. I would think that's worth more fees than just a traditional multi.
It's a pretty hard one to disagree with the logic on that, isn't it? And I mean, when you were talking about before, I was thinking about saying, well, it's just a case of having a smaller bit of a bigger pie. But even that analogy is wrong, because it's actually just having a bit of the pie that you weren't going to have before, were you? As you said, if 50% aren't obviously going there, it's like John McGrath, the famous Australian agent, used to said, a listing's a liability until the minute it's sold, isn't it? The amount of work and effort you put in on everything.
But you're banking the fact that you've now got a 90% chance of selling this. And I just think at the end of the day, you know, when you, as an agent, and I was one for 28 years, you know, you go around and you're trying to get the business so that you're prepared to be as positive you can as you possibly should be, legally and correctly on the price, but also you're going to do the best job on your fee. You're looking to cut down fee. And I would say to agents, I'd be going in and saying, look, this is 1.75. And it might be that you end up you're giving away 0.75 to one of your other agents, but you're getting 1%, and you've got now a 90% chance of getting that 1% rather than the 50%.
And is that enough? So, I mean, there's a whole discussion going on as to whether or not fees above 1% are the norm in the UK, because a lot of agents you'll speak to, typically we get to hear from the best agents, and the best agents love to say that 2% is where they would set the stall out, but they end up settling somewhere between 1.25%. I can tell you locally what goes on. If I can get 1%, we're high-fiving each other in the office, and that's the reality of it. And we'll settle. Most agents locally would settle for about 0.75% if they could get their hands on it. So it's at that sort of level. You then need to turn around to a vendor and say, listen, Mr. Vendor, we're going to now offer you something that hopefully gives you more exposure. And then therefore your fee's going to increase. Vendors have been badly educated on fees, and this is the issue. They think, and it's not just us, I suppose people like OpenBrix along the way have done us a little bit of a disservice in terms of managing their expectations as to what values agents bring to the table. But I tell you what, where I could see using this every day of the week is it's a great instruction saver. So if you can't sell the property and you don't want to lose the property, well then half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. You're going to go for something, aren't you?
It's not just a saver, is it? It's a fee defender. You know, whatever, as long as you can get across that this is a benefit, you might not be able to get your fee up, but maybe it stops you dropping it down, as you said before, from the 1% down to 0.7%.
The other thing you're not thinking about here is we're just talking about the service to the vendor, and obviously, but it's also for the consumer, because your vendor usually will get their house under offer first before they start looking at other properties in a general rule. And of course, once your vendor has sold their property, you can say, so where are you moving to? Oh, we're looking to move to Nottingham. Fantastic. Would you like me to show you some properties? So you can can then start acting for their vendor in their purchase.
So if I put my super small business owner's hat on for a second, and let's just say I was a startup, so I'm an agent with very, very little stock. I would be going out to anybody that provides an MLS and saying, I want to sign today, because I've got that mission to build up my stock levels. But if effectively I can hook into a network of instructions and perhaps, again, maybe you won't like this analogy, but feed off the instructions that other people have been unsuccessful with selling. Very often I find that on joint instructions, it is the smaller agent that's more motivated to actually get the sale for the owner, because they're hungry. They're far more hungry than these big machines we see out there.
I absolutely agree. And, and you're right, that analogy of the feeder. But it works. But look, if you've got a feeder that helps you sell your property, and you're going to claim the 1%, and you're giving 0.5 away to the feeder, are you going to worry? Your reputation upheld. You've done the job. You've done in charge of the viewing. It's, to me, you get your sale board up. I think it's I think it's a no-brainer. I really do.
Adam, I think we might have to ask you to repeat that last bit.
The deep state.
That's all right. We're talking about the. Yeah, they're probably looking at me now. It was about the feeders coming in, as you referred to them.
Yeah.
So, as an agent, would you mind a feeder coming in and saving your sale? I wouldn't mind.
So, again, I think if it was between building up a weaker competitor, if you like, because that's really the other way you could look at it. If I'm a big agent and I've got loads of listings, I could look at this as well, Adam's only got one or two. I'm effectively going to be giving him a leg up by collaborating with him. But that's probably a little bit short-sighted, because Adam's always going to be hungry. He's always going to want to build his business. And if it's between me losing that,
there you go. It's
losing the instruction is bad business for everybody. End of story.
If you accept that that's the worst thing, isn't it? Then it's just degrees of better than that.
100%. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing that comes out of this is what Simon said earlier, is there is a huge advantage to one person in particular here, and it's the vendor.
Yeah. But also,
Massively.
just to go back to your other point, so you don't want to share your property with me. Well, let's not use me as an analogy, because I would never have done this. I was an agent. But there were agents who tried to grow in my area.
Yeah.
If I didn't work with them, they'd knock down my boards. They'd go and put notes through the vendor's letterbox anyway. I'd rather they work for me.
Yeah, no, I suppose you're right. And I suppose if you are the lead agent, you're in control, you call the shots, and you're able to divvy up the fee effectively in a way that is equitable and fair.
That bit's all done on the blockchain, and just to bore you again, but that means it's indelible, it's immutable, it's time stamped, can't be edited, so we know when the viewing went ahead. It's very clever. I have to say, it's very clever. We've showed it to a few agents because it's ready, but we're just waiting for the last two pieces of our puzzle, which on two other products, before we go big on it. But we've been testing it, and it's super powerful. It's great. It really is.
Adam, as ever, it's fantastic listening to you. I think what we take from this more than anything is, again, you're not even sat on your laurels, obviously, after a fairly fresh launch and everything else. You're just looking at ways that you can improve the journey for both the consumer and the agents. And as such, that's the sort of company I would be saying to an agent that you want to be aligning yourself with. So even if you just want to find out what this MLS is about, or the other 7 elements of what they have on offer, drop Adam a line and find out more.
Yeah, please do, and I'll respond personally and directly. And yeah, we've been dark the last 5 months, but I don't think I've ever worked harder in my life. So it's been a busy time.
Well, you need to get back out there, work on your tan, even though you make me look like someone Scottish.
And I love it, like he makes out he's Julian Assange hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy or something. I've had to go dark.
I've had nights like that. Okay, guys, look, fantastic. Great hearing from you again, Adam. Thank you for your thoughts on this as well, David. And thank you for everyone who's watching, and please catch up soon.
Pleasure.
Thanks, guys. And nice to meet you, David. And thanks again, Simon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Real.